Oh, hi. Um, this is probably going to be my last video for the night, and I'm also, as you can probably tell, or maybe not, very tired. So I'll get right down to it. In this video I'm going to talk about basically, how I feel that many, films and television shows, for no reason other than, for pure, you know, uh, shock value, especially in comedies and horrors, try to be as edgy or offensive as possible. And I feel that basically, what's the use in all that? I mean, at what point does, comedy have to be like edgy or, dark or, offensive or political for it to be funny? The last time I checked, comedy was just meant to be funny and lighthearted and humorous. Basically, instead of like depressing you as some like offensive shows like Family Guy or um, the Harold and Kumar movies or other stuff like that. Instead of being all depressing and dark, it's supposed to be like lighthearted and happy and fun. But it seems like there are so many shows and movies out today that try to be as dark and edgy and offensive as possible, and it doesn't make me laugh or hardly ever. I mean, there's a few movies that kind of made me laugh that were kind of like more blue or dark, like Borat and Bruno. But for the most part, it's just sad, that we always have to be like, go far enough for it to be like acceptable. Comedy's supposed to be like funny and humorous and joyful, and horror is meant to be like, just meant to frighten or scare, or like, yeah, sometimes be disturbing as well. It's not supposed to be all like bloody and gory all the time and as sick and depraved as possible. I mean, there were some movie scenes like the opening scene of Blue Velvet where he has a stroke and then all of a sudden he falls down on the ground, holding the hose and the dog's barking over him, and the camera pans down to the grass and you see like all these bugs squirming around, and it's just nasty and disgusting and disturbing and really scared the hell out of me. It was really quite creepy. Also, the dream sequence from The Exorcist, where the guy dreams about, he's running towards his mother who is standing in front of like a subway opening or something, or some sort of subway station, and he like runs toward her and she goes back down and she's like saying something towards him, and just creepy and ominous as hell. And there's all these bunch of scenes from like early horror films that were so much more effective than many of these like bloody slasher films of nowadays. A few like Insidious and Paranormal Activity like have that old-fashioned, horror still around, but like most of them are just the complete opposite. Horror doesn't have to be like R-rated, it can be PG-13 and still be scary as hell. So it just kind of bothers me a lot how many people are trying to be as like creepy and disturbing and depraved as possible. Especially like Rob Zombie and Eli Roth. I mean, compared to like earlier horror comedies, you know, Eli Roth directed Cabin Fever, and compared to movies like that, also Slither and Bride of Chucky, movies like American Werewolf in London and a couple of others from the early era, they were a lot more classy and fun and scary at the same time, while Hostel and Cabin Fever was really disgusting and vulgar, and I just don't understand the whole trend of this whole thing. It's really quite sad. I mean, for years, like, the themes that, culture is getting worse and worse as time goes on. It's really quite sad. Anyway, I'm one of the few people who's a very big horror fan, and also like comedies from now and then. And I'm really dedicated to like the more old-fashioned or suspenseful kind that's rare nowadays. So that's just me. And if you want to post your thoughts, how you feel about this, feel free to. Glad to see what you want to say about stuff like this, but hopefully you'll agree with me, because I feel that most people feel the same way that I do. In addition to all those endless remakes that are usually not as good as the originals, like the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, uh, The Fog, all those just unnecessary. You don't need them.